What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Fenralion Gamer. Today we're talking about Ubisoft's brand new move that surprised everyone, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Valley of Memory. This expansion is completely free, adds a new chapter to Basim's story, brings a brand new region called the AlUla Valley into the game, and even overhauls the parkour system from the ground up. But this DLC isn't just making waves for its content, it's also in the spotlight because of its controversial funding. If you're ready, let's break down both the new missions and the behind-the-scenes drama together. But before we dive into the details, I know most of you watch and move on, but hey, subscribing and liking is totally free. Come on, let's be generous, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's grow together. Now, let's get started. Assassin's Creed Mirage was never supposed to get an expansion. After the era of massive open worlds like Odyssey and Valhalla, Ubisoft designed this game as a return to the series' roots, more compact, more stealth-focused, a classic Assassin's Creed experience. But 2 years passed, and Ubisoft pulled a surprise nobody expected. Valley of Memory. This new DLC exploded onto the scene not just because it's free, but because it adds an entirely new chapter to Basim's story. This free expansion drops on November 18 and, according to Ubisoft, delivers over 6 hours of gameplay. The story takes place right before the end of the main campaign. Basim hears a rumor that his long-lost father might still be alive. That lead takes him to the AlUla Valley, located within modern-day Saudi Arabia. It's a region steeped in history, a settlement dating back 7,000 years, dazzlingly beautiful but packed with danger. When Basim arrives, he discovers the valley has been overrun by a ruthless bandit gang. According to Ubisoft, Valley of Memory significantly expands Mirage's world both visually and mechanically. There are new main missions, contracts, side stories, and even parkour challenges that hide musical notes. Basim can collect those notes and play the oud at certain spots. Yep, really. It's a small but creative touch that shows how much care Ubisoft put into the atmosphere. The classic black box missions also get a special twist here. These new versions offer a different experience in both gameplay and stealth. The new region stands out in both variety and scale. Ubisoft says it worked with archaeologists and historians to recreate AlUla. In the game, you'll explore the Old City, Musa ibn Musayr's fortress, the Hegra Necropolis, and the Valley of the Stones. The environmental transitions are excellent, from narrow streets to green oases, then out into deserts wrapped in red sand. But the beauty is matched by danger. There are ambushes set by bandits around every corner across the desert. Of course, Valley of Memory isn't just new missions. This expansion functions like a major update that improves Mirage's core mechanics. You can now replay all contracts and black box missions. Access through Animus sequences, these missions include new rule sets. Complete them without being detected, assassinate only the main target, or finish within a time limit, for example. Completing these challenges nets players unique cosmetics and rewards. The parkour system has also been completely reworked. Basim can now jump manually, the new control scheme lets you flow across rooftops much more smoothly, and you can now trigger side and back ejects whenever you want. Ubisoft didn't stop there. It also expanded Basim's tools and abilities. Basim now has a new skill called Engineer 2. It lets players customize tools more deeply and apply Tier 3 mods to each. Blow darts gain improved armor penetration, smoke bombs can fully erase enemy bodies, and noisemakers can do more than distract, they can put enemies to sleep. Ubisoft says these upgraded tools work in both the main Mirage campaign and in the Valley of Memory content. Meaning this DLC isn't just extra story, it's a game-wide update that reshapes the core experience. There are changes to difficulty as well. 2 new difficulty levels have been added, Medium Plus and Very Hard. There's also a fully custom option where you can tune the experience to your own preferences. Ubisoft's goal is to cater to both story-focused players and veteran assassins hungry for the toughest challenges. Even after you finish the game, this looks like a package that'll keep you busy for a long time, clear proof. Ubisoft wants Mirage to be more than a one-and-done experience. But what's being discussed outside the game is just as attention-grabbing. Valley of Memory is in the spotlight not only for its story and gameplay, but also for how it may have been funded. Reports from outlets like Eurogamer and IGN suggest the expansion may have been financed by Savvy Games Group, a Saudi state-backed investment fund. Ubisoft says it retained full creative freedom, but hasn't provided clarity on the funding details. The DLC was even announced in Saudi Arabia, with royal commission for AlUla officials present at the launch. That's caused some unrest among Ubisoft staff. According to reporting by Stephen Totolo at GameFile, some Ubisoft developers directly asked management whether this partnership could harm the company's image. One employee reportedly connected it to Saudi Arabia's human rights record and the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Ubisoft hasn't provided direct answers to those questions publicly, but it's clear the topic stirred significant internal debate. Ubisoft's position is that this expansion is purely a cultural project. Producer Vincent Malandi Rabbioni says, "We considered AlUla for the main game but couldn't fit it in at the time." He adds, "The region moved us historically. We work with archaeologists, but the creative work was entirely our own." In other words, Ubisoft frames the DLC as a historical exploration rather than a political partnership. Even so, many players don't find that explanation fully convincing. Looking at the gameplay side, Valley of Memory meaningfully enlarges Mirage's world. In both story and mechanics, this DLC may be free, but it feels like a mini expansion pack. The parkour overhaul and the replayable black box missions, in particular, could make Mirage feel far more modern than it did at launch. Ubisoft is emphasizing the idea of bringing a lost civilization back to life while staying true to the series' roots. Ubisoft's art team says the visual side of this expansion was a major challenge. Art director Florian Salomez describes rebuilding AlUla as much an artistic mission as a historical one. There's very little documentation of AlUla in the 9th century. Much has been lost to time. So Ubisoft relied on imagination and scholarly consulting. On one side, a flourishing civilization, on the other, untamed nature. We wanted to capture that balance, Salomez says. Players will witness authentic historical textures while rediscovering Assassin's Creed's classic sense of exploration. The new region differs not only visually, but atmospherically. Instead of Baghdad's bustling streets, Mirage now gives you a space that's deeply connected to nature. At AlUla's center is a city built around an oasis. Leave the city and you'll pass date palm fields, then dunes, rocky canyons, and ancient structures. This variety fuels fresh dynamics in parkour, stealth, and exploration. At dusk, the sun's reflections on the valley's stone walls give the game a distinctly cinematic look. With this new setting comes a more dangerous world. Ubisoft says bandit gangs set ambushes all across AlUla, not just around the city, but along desert routes as well. Players will have to be more careful, as bandits lay traps along caravan roads. Ubisoft believes these threats encourage new tactics. For fans used to Mirage's traditional stealth, this DLC should feel a bit more strategic and demanding. Another eye-catching addition is Challenge Mode. It lets players replay missions from both the base game and the DLC, but under new rules: complete a mission undetected, eliminate only your main target, or beat a strict time limit. It's reminiscent of the full synchronization system from classic AC titles. Each completed challenge awards, special rewards, and gear. Ubisoft's aim is to add both replayability and a competitive edge. The parkour system has basically been rewritten. Players can now toggle manual jump to craft their own movement chains freely. The new control layout smooths transitions across rooftops. Restrictions on side eject and back eject have been lifted too. Basim can now execute them even when the landing spot isn't perfectly obvious. The result puts Mirage's flow somewhere between Valhalla and Unity. Ubisoft is proudly saying players are now completely free in parkour. The update doesn't stop at mechanics, it also expands customization. The Engineer 2 node in Basim's skill tree takes tool mods to the next level. With Tier 3 upgrades available across the board, players get deeper stealth, offensive, and control options. For example, blow darts can disable heavily armored enemies, and smoke bombs can remove foes without a trace. These options speed up the gameplay and give veterans fresh assassination combos to experiment with. This DLC also lightly brings back some of the series' classic RPG elements. New side quests, contracts, and collectibles make Mirage's world feel more alive. A standout touch: collecting musical notes to let Basim play the oud at special spots, something we've never seen in the franchise. These small details make Mirage's already strong atmosphere feel even more personal. Ubisoft says many of these ideas were born from player feedback, meaning Valley of Memory is an expansion shaped with the community's input. On the technical side, performance improvements stand out. Along with the DLC, Ubisoft says it updated parkour optimization, enemy AI balance, and the new control layouts. Rooftop-to-rooftop inconsistencies have been reduced, and climbing animations smoothed. Basim now feels far more natural and responsive in motion, something players have been asking for since launch. And yet, looming over all these upgrades is the big shadow, the funding debate. Because Valley of Memory isn't just a game expansion, it sits in the middle of a political controversy. Games Media reports that the DLC is linked to Saudi Arabia's Savvy Games Group, and that even some Ubisoft developers were uneasy about it. Ubisoft maintains, "We have full creative control," but hasn't shared details on the funding. That silence has only led to more questions among players. The launch being held in Saudi Arabia further fueled the discussion. At Ubisoft's event, Dr. Abdulrahman Al-Suhaibani from the Royal Commission for AlUla said, "We want players to discover the history of AlUla." While that sounds like a cultural partnership, some players see it as part of a reputation laundering strategy. With Saudi Arabia's human rights record and the Khashoggi murders still in memory, this collaboration has sparked serious ethical debate in the gaming community. Despite the backlash, Ubisoft continues to defend Valley of Memory as a cultural project. The studio says the goal is to revive historical heritage and let players visually experience 9th century Arabia. And AlUla isn't just a new stage, it's a real UNESCO World Heritage Site. Ubisoft chose it for its historical richness and visual diversity. The team used archaeological input to reimagine ancient structures and blended the desert atmosphere with artistic vision. If there's a single phrase for this DLC, it's probably history meets gameplay. Even so, the community is split. Some see a beautiful, completely free package that expands Mirage's best qualities, a gift to players. Others believe the political ties cast a shadow over that gift. Another wrinkle, Ubisoft once said there were no DLC plans for Mirage. Now, we're getting a massive update that extends the story and rewires mechanics. Some call it a great surprise, others say Ubisoft is walking back. Regardless of the debates, the technical achievement is hard to ignore. The parkour system now feels close to the series' most fluid era, Assassin's Creed Unity. Manual jumping and free directional control make movement feel far more natural. AlUla's rocky formations, towering stone pillars, and tight passages make parkour genuinely exciting. Ubisoft is bold here. We've put full control in players' hands. The replayable black box missions are also a powerful nod to the series' roots. You can now tackle every mission with different tactics, going totally unseen, eliminating only the target, and so on. Earning full sync-style rewards is back. Ubisoft says this was added because the community asked for it. In short, the DLC adds both new content and new ways to personalize the Mirage experience. Finally, timed with Mirage's 2nd anniversary, this expansion also acts like a huge technical patch. Alongside Valley of Memory, Ubisoft is rolling out new difficulty tiers, extra abilities, improved AI, new animations, and broader optimizations. Players should see smoother performance in both Baghdad and AlUla. All of this signals Ubisoft's intent to turn Mirage into a long-term platform. Basim's story may have seemed complete, but Mirage's adventure is just getting started. So yeah, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Valley of Memory, looks like it'll be both surprising and controversial. On one side, a 6-hour free story, new missions, and upgraded mechanics. On the other, heated debates over Saudi-linked funding. One way or another, the Mirage universe is back, and Basim's journey continues. What do you think? Is this DLC a bold step by Ubisoft, or a political risk? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'll be reading them. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. See you in the next one, take care.